Okay, y'all, I am ready to decorate my first tree of the season. I'm in my dining room, in case you can't tell. And also, in case you can't tell, my theme for this tree is going to be Williamsburg blue and silver. And this is just everything, almost everything that I have in that color. I've just brought it all in here, piled it on my table. Some of these I've had for a couple of years. I've never used them. I've just been collecting them. These were cheapo dollar store ornaments that I spray painted. This Williamsburg blue, and here's the ribbon. I think that looks very nice together. So, and I've picked up a few blue ornaments this year. I picked up these really pretty poinsettias at Hobby Lobby. I got those last year. My dilemma right now is the star. Oftentimes, I do a tree topper that's like a whole lot of picks coming out of the top of the tree, but I don't think I want to do that this year. I think I want to do a star, and I have a little bit of dilemma. I have this old star which has no way to attach it to the tree. I've lost the little doolally that comes out of the bottom of it. I guess I could wire it, but I can't figure out a way to wire it, and so the wire won't show, and it won't just sit in the branches. The other one, I picked up this gorgeous star a couple of weeks ago, and I really love the sparkle, especially if I add some of my sparkly dollar store ornaments to the tree, and there's some sparkle in those. But my dilemma, how to get the thing to stay up there. When I put it up there, it just flops over. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll play around a little bit. Okay, I have it in place. As you can see, it's so pretty. I love the way it reflects the light. Let me show you what I did to get it to stay up there. When I'm decorating for Christmas, this floral wire is my best friend. I use a ton of it, and I try to save it from year to year. This is all left over from I don't know how many years. But anyway, that's what I use to attach this star, and let me kind of try to give you a close-up look at it. Well, unfortunately, you're really not going to be able to see it, but all I did was I put the star on the front of the tree. It's not sitting up on top of the tree. As you can see, it's to the front. And I used that floral wire. First, I went from the back of the tree, wrapped it around there, and then wrapped it around here. And then I came around from the front side and ran it through here, wrapped it around the tree, and came back around the front and wound it together there. So hopefully that'll hold it in place. Now I'm gonna try to disguise that spring so that you can't see that. We'll see how it goes. First thing I'm gonna try to disguise it with is some ribbon loops, and I've got this gorgeous, I think this is 2.5 inch wide Dupioni silk French blue ribbon, which is pretty much the Williamsburg blue. And I've just made a series of 3 loops. You can see I've got them wired together. I have not cut it to length yet. And once I get them tucked into the tree up there at the top, I'll kind of fluff them out and spread them out. And I'll show you when I'm done. One other thing, when I cinched these loops together, I wrapped them with that floral wire. As you can see here, I twisted around the back, but I left plenty of length so that I can attach this tree. I'm not real sure exactly how I'm going to attach it. Didn't know exactly how much length I was going to need. So I'd rather have too much than not enough and have to redo it. Okay, there it is with the loops of ribbon up there. And it does disguise it from this side, the spring, but it does not disguise it from over here. So I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to try to attach some larger ornaments up here on either side of the ribbon. Let's just see how that goes. Now what I've done to start with is I've taken one of my blue balls and one of my smaller silver balls, and I've wired them together. And I'm going to try to place some up there to the left of that bow, upside down, and fill it in, try to fill that little spot in, and then take one of these, possibly take one of these larger silver ones or one of these large silver ones. These are pretty heavy because they're mercury glass, and put them over there where you can see the spring. Okay, there's the larger ball over there, and I'm not feeling it. It's too big. Let me try something different. Okay, that's much better to my mind's eye. Yes, I realize this is leaning, the star is leaning. I have to bend it, straighten it up. But that arrangement is much better than what I had up there before, I think. Okay, when I'm decorating a tree, after I've done the topper, my next step is to add in large ornaments. This is a really giant ornament. I'm guessing 6 or 8 inches is the diameter. And I don't hang them on the edge. I like to push them back into the tree. Now I will wire it in, but I like to push them back into the tree as opposed to hanging them on the edge. It creates dimension in the tree. It draws your eye in. It's just more interesting. So that's what I'm going to work on next, is adding all these large silver ones. Then I'll go down to the next size, which is these larger blue ones, and then I'll start adding the smaller things in. Before I move on to starting to add some of the large ornaments, this topper just needs something else. So what I think I'm going to do is add another loop of the blue silk ribbon, and I'll show you how I do it. It's super easy. Basically, you just grab your length of ribbon. Okay, there's my length of ribbon. It's still attached to the roll down there, and you just kind of fold it up to what size you want your ribbon to be. As you can see, I've already folded this once. Let me lay it down. Can't do this one-handed. Move that out of the way. Okay, so that's about the size of the loop I think I want. And then you just squeeze it together, kind of cinch it. Then I'm going to take, where is it? I had one lying here. Anyway, I'm gonna here it is. Take a piece of floral wire and I'm gonna tie it around here. Let me show you that after it's done. All right, can you see that piece of floral wire? So all I did was just twist it tightly around the back, twist it around itself a few times. And I will say this, the reason that I choose to use floral wire over zip ties, which I see some people use, is that if I don't like the way this is done, I just untwist the floral wire, whereas with a zip tie, you have to cut the zip tie off and you've wasted one. Same thing for pipe cleaners in a way. Pipe cleaners can break, and to get things really tight, especially if you're doing a big bundle of ribbon, you have to really pull on that wire. And I've had pipe cleaners break on me before. So here's a tip. If you're not sure what size loop, just grab your ribbon and start playing. Just kind of loop it and hold it in the tree. Step back, see if you think that's the right size. Now I've left one tail short and I haven't cut this section yet because I'm not sure how long I'm going to leave it. But I will dovetail the end when I cut it like that. So let me do that. All right, added another loop there. That's the loop I added. And there's the short end of the tail, and there's the long one. It comes down a little bit farther. I dovetail the ends, and all you do to dovetail the ribbon in is just fold the ribbon in half and cut a V into it. Okay, but then I also needed something else on this side, so I did a 2-loop ribbon, or bow, I guess you could call it. It's not really a bow, but it kind of looks like one. And again, a shorter dovetailed piece up here. I just kind of like the way they kind of swoop out of the tree. And I ran it down here. And y'all, these two, this one and the one on the side, they're not wired on. They're just tucked back into the tree. Unless you've got somebody that's gonna be messing with your tree, they should be fine. All right, I added one more ornament. And now I kind of feel like my topper is complete. I just like to do the tree topper first. Now I'll move on to tucking in my larger ornaments, like these ginormous puppies, into the tree, especially where there are holes. As you can see, this large one is pushed back into the tree. Now, this is a heavy ornament, okay? I don't want it, sometimes if they're plastic, you can just push them in there and leave them, but this is heavy. So I took some of my floral wire and I wired it to the very back of one of the bigger branches. I didn't just wire it to the tips of these thinner stems because they would just pull down like that. So there's one. Now I'm gonna add the others, and I'm gonna try to alternate and go down kind of in a pattern like that from each view of the tree. Okay, here I've added all the really large silver ornaments and those large blue ornaments that I showed you earlier. And you can kind of see how I tried to zigzag a little bit so things wouldn't be lined up too much. These right here are a little bit more lined up than I would like for them to be, but I wanted to get all these large silver ornaments on the tree, and I started running out of room because this is a slim tree. It's not a huge tree. So I may wind up moving that as I continue to decorate the tree. The other thing is when I hang ornaments on a tree, even if I'm just using the hook, not floral wire, I don't like those little tops, the hanger tops, to show if I can avoid it. So I cinch, I don't know if I can show you there. I cinch the ornament top up into the branch and then wrap the little wire, the hook, around the branch, which really holds it up into the tree. And if I can, what I was saying was I push the ornament up into tightly against the branch. And so that you can see there's the little top. And I take the hook and actually wrap it around the branch to hold the ornament tightly. And the other little trick I do is, if I can, I position that little ornament top toward the back of the branch so that it won't show. I just think it looks better than having, in a tree that's decorated this way. Some trees it looks better just to let the ornaments hang. But in a tree that's decorated this way, I think it looks better to have the ornament cinched up tightly against the branches, if that makes sense. All right, the next step for me is I'm going to start adding these medium-size ornaments. And then after that, I will get into the smaller, just normal size ornaments. We will see how many of these I use. I may use them all. I may only use some of them. And then one of the last decisions will be whether or not to use these, I think these are Reed and Barton, or they might be Wallace, silver bells. My mother started giving these to me back in the 70s, and every year she gave them to me until she got too old to do it. And then I picked it up for my granddaughters, or my daughter, and she'll pass it on to her daughter. So anyway, I have a huge collection of these, and I don't use them nearly as often as I would like to. We'll see if they make it onto the tree. Okay, I've added all the ornaments that I think I want to add to this tree. I have not put those silver bells on here. I don't know that I'm going to. I'll show you the other side. Over here. Now this tree gets pushed back into the window, so I don't decorate the back side of it. You don't see it. Even at night, if somebody walks by the window, the lights are on and, they cut back on what you can see, the glare from them. So now I'm starting to put the finishing touches on the tree. And this particular finishing touch that I'm working on is adding additional ribbon. A lot of times I loop ribbon all over the tree, but for this particular tree, I just want it to be a more simple look. So I'm not putting it all over the tree. I'm just kind of strategically placing it. And what I've done here is I've made 2 sets of 2 loops. I've got a hole right there, okay? So I've made 2 sets of 2 loops. And I literally, you can see how long I left. Let me fix this one-handed, sorry. Okay, I don't know if you can see how long I left the wires. Anyway, they're pretty long. So literally all I do is I'm tucking them back into the tree, and I will turn them this way or that way till I get it positioned the way that I want it to kind of hide that hole. Okay, I've used up every scrap of that silk French blue, Williamsburg blue ribbon that I had. Honestly, I would love to have had another roll of it, but I don't have time to order it. So anyway, I've got a few little loops right there. Got a single loop right here because this was the end of the ribbon. But I did also add a touch of it over here on this side. I added it down low because this ribbon, the train of it, comes down a little bit farther than on the other side of the tree. Now I've got what I think will be my final finishing touch to this tree, which is working in some of this unwired velvet ribbon. Okay, this ribbon is much lighter weight, flimsier, as I said, because it isn't wired. So whereas the wired ribbon, I was just able to tuck it back in the tree. It's not wired or attached to anything. It's just stuck in there. To get this placed exactly where I wanted it, I did reach up under here and kind of wire it to a little branch there, just very lightly, not a big deal. But let me back up. I love the combination of the two textures together. So I'm gonna add some more of this around the tree to the other pieces of wired ribbon I've done here. And then I'm also think I'm just gonna tie some onto the ends of branches, we'll see. And there it is in place. So I just pushed it back in there, honestly. I tried to make it look like it was integrated with the satin ribbon. I think I like it. I think it's really pretty. It helps to tie together the fact that I've got satin and velvet down here and then on the other side. Okay, let me keep going. Let me give you a better visual of how I'm making these fake bows. So take your length of ribbon, all right, and lay it face side down if your ribbon has two distinct front and backs. So lay it face down. Then take one end of it, loop it like that. Take the other end and loop it like that. So you kind of have a crisscross of your ribbon. All right, now we're going to for right now, we're just going to grab it here where the X is and cinch it together like that. Okay, now before I tie it down with a piece of floral wire, I'm going to make, since my ribbon has got two sides, before I really tighten it up with the wire, I'm going to make sure that the sides of my ribbon that I want to show are facing forward or the direction that I want them to be in. It's just easier to get them into position before you tighten the wire up. Hope that makes better sense. Okay, y'all, my tree is finally done. You could probably tell from the previous videos that I filmed this at different times of the day, and it was actually spread over several days. I'd work on it a little bit here and there, but here we are early Saturday morning, and it's still not quite light outside, but I wanted to show you the tree. I got held up because I had to wait for another roll of this velvet ribbon right here. What I have just wasn't quite enough. It had said it was not going to arrive until Sunday, but thankfully it showed up early. So I was able to finish the tree. So I'll just give you a little close-up of what it looks like. As you can tell, it's a very simply decorated tree. It's not covered in tons of ornaments, and it's not covered in tons of ribbon, but I'm really liking this look. I think I need to go up there and work on that blue ball a little bit. I think it needs to be pushed back into the tree a little bit more. When I walk in here, that's what I see, is that big blue ball sticking out. So I will work on that. And let me show you the tree from the other side. As you can tell, my dining room table is finally cleared off. And here's how it looks from over here. So I'm really tickled with how it turned out. I'll back up from the door here. You can just kind of see it all the way around. And that's that tree.